So, many epic things happened this session. It started out, we had got to that cauldron of liquid fire that was hanging off the side of the tower. Now, I'm going to start out by describing the layout of this tower. There's basically 4 cardinal points. And let's say that we're going, I don't know which direction we're traveling, but say we're going north. The tower is moving north in the midst of a thunderstorm. Our cauldron of fire would be hanging off the west side of the tower. On the north side of the tower.
Port side.
Yeah. I don't know these directions and stuff.
Port is on that side of the ship.
Sure, we'll say port then. Cauldron of fire is on the west or port side. On the north or fore side, there's sort of a, you know those towers that hang off the side of a building sort of thing? It's like a promontory or you know, there's a tower beside the tower sort of hanging off its side.
Okay.
It's like the forecastle, the prow of the tower. Then on the east side, which we can't see at the beginning of this adventure, but we've sort of speculated there's another cauldron of fire on the other side, because we know this thing spews two streams of fire. I know it makes sense to balance them.
And I think there was even evidence they saw them falling, and like,
Yeah.
you can only see one at once and stuff, kind of, so.
And then on the aft, there's sort of a bunch of little towers sticking out at an angle from the main tower. And that was the thing that we were trying to figure out how to get a shadow bridge from our cauldron of fire over the roofs of those towers, so that we could dump liquid fire onto the roofs of those towers, which are wood and slate. But unfortunately, our cauldron of fire is about the same level as the roofs, so we wouldn't be able to get it up onto the roofs from there. So that's where it all starts. We're by this cauldron of fire hanging off the side of the tower. And how do we seal the trapdoor? Did we seal the trapdoor?
No, as you guys were discussing for a while, all of a
Yeah.
sudden you heard it lock from the inside, because it had a whole bunch of locking mechanisms that were designed to be locked from the inside,
Yeah.
that they easily just unlocked and came out here, and then
Yeah.
someone locked them out there.
Right. So the Drow locked us out with a
Take
giant
that.
giant cauldron of fire. But we couldn't figure out how to use this cauldron of fire for anything. So we eventually decided to go have a look at the other cauldron of fire.
Well, and the Drow would have no reason to, I mean, maybe they could have figured it out, but they have no real reason to assume you're not now just trapped out there on that tiny little
Yeah.
piece of tower.
Yeah. They didn't know we had a hook shot, because we used it a bit flagrantly during the fight.
I suppose that's true, although I think everyone who saw it get used was dead.
Good
So-
point. Good point. So anyway, we're out on this cauldron of fire, and we decide we want to go around to the other side of the tower to check it out. Now, there's 2 ways we can go around: via the prow, or via the bundle of little towers sticking out at an angle. And I believe, did I go around? I think
You went through the back, we go
Cricket
through the
Scout,
little,
yeah.
because, I'm not sure, because there was, on the tower on the front, there were crenellations, which indicated you could go up there from the inside, and they figured if that was the case, it would be guarded.
Yeah.
So they didn't want to go that way, because they didn't want to deal with any guards.
Yeah. So Cricket scouted around the other side and found that indeed there was another cauldron of fire, and it was at a higher elevation than the one we were on, which was good, which meant that we could do this shadow bridge thing. Now, Cricket still felt this was a bad idea and we should probably just flee, but
What's a shadow bridge?
it's a ritual. It creates a bridge, essentially. It only lasts 10 minutes, but it's for crossing over a chasm or something. And in this case, we're going to use it to make a chute from the cauldron of fire over to our target. So, Cricket went around and saw that there was this other thing.
Now, actually, I just
And
realized
came back and reported.
before that actually happened, I remember that was the plan.
Yeah.
But then Aurora decided to use her cloak.
Oh, right. I knew that happened before we left, but I didn't remember exactly when that happened.
It was someone right around here. I think it was definitely before you left the side. No, you had scouted around and figured out that this plan would work. You came back to report, and that's when Aurora used her cloak.
Yes, I thought it was about this time. So Aurora has this magic cloak that she bought mainly for flavor reasons. It's a fairly cheap little cloak, and it has this basic ability, which can't possibly ever be useful for anything, right? It allows you to clear the sky of clouds so you can see the stars. We're in a tower that's being held up by a magically created thunderstorm. Now,
It took me a long time to decide how this was going to work. Because, I mean, if a 1,000 gold piece item could take down the whole tower in a second, they had a bad design. So it would have to resist somehow. But
on the other hand, this isn't exactly the sort of thing that would come along every day. So it's not like they would have proofed it specifically against this thing. Because, who's going to have one of these crappy little cloaks that just,
I want to see the star.
So she uses it.
well, that was basically it. Like Aurora just kind of got annoyed and was like, I want to see my brothers in the sky. Opens up the clouds. The clouds part and start showing the sky, and the tower immediately just starts free falling, and then it immediately reasserts the storm. So there's this ring of clear sky that spreads out.
Are like, full power.
But yeah, the tower just free falls, starts catching itself, and the power is coming back to it, and it's slowing its descent, but it just kind of hits the ground.
Crunch.
And then it starts listing to starboard about 10 degrees from that point on, because it's not like some of the propulsion on the bottom was damaged severely by that crash into the ground.
And so the tower hits the ground, there's a shock, it starts listing. So John has us all make, was it athletics checks or balance checks? Acrobatics checks.
Because it just hit the ground really hard, and it's raining out here, and they're on this little piece of rock.
Yeah.
Not that little, but...
So everyone makes their checks awesomely, except for Serendipity, Van Goldstrider, Malor, Slayer of the Butcher, Rapid Ridge. She flubs it completely and falls into the vat of liquid fire.
Name got longer.
Oh yeah, every time a gnome does something particularly significant, they add to their name. But fortunately, we'd had a 5-minute rest, so Cricket had Guardian's counter back. So I had critically succeeded my roll. I'd rolled 33 or something. So I see Serendipity, Van Goldstrider, Malor, Sawyer, and Breckenridge sliding into the liquid fire, and Cricket goes, no, and dives and shoves her to safety and plummets in herself.
Oh no.
Takes a bunch of damage and crawls out. And everyone's trying to put the flames out, and she's like, careful, you'll burn yourself.
It's all playing according to your plan, isn't it, Brian?
And that was, I don't know, did you heal from that by using your last healing
I
surge?
got to use my last healing surge to heal from
He
that.
has a plan. Remember, you were supposed
What
to never
is it?
have a plan.
I don't have a plan.
You do.
I have no idea what it is, and don't speculate, because this is going on the record.
So, you fell into a cauldron of fire and survived.
It hurts.
She didn't plunge in fully. Her legs and stuff fell in as she held the rim and then got pulled out. So, I mean, it hurt a lot.
Yeah.
Took off probably half her hit points.
Yeah. It was bad, but not,
It was raining too.
Yeah.
That helped.
Yeah, that was nice. So now, the problem is, the tower is tilted to the starboard. The giant cauldron of fire was filled to the rim. Now it's tilted. And it has a thing that is auto-generating fire to keep it topped up. So the liquid fire starts pouring out of the cauldron onto the platform that we're on. So we decided it's time to go. So Hank spends a cinematic point, and everyone grabs onto him, and he hook shots over to the crenellated, to the forecastle thing.
Actually,
And I think he spent a cinematic point for this.
that was later. That was later. He did that actually.
Oh?
This time was the time where you ferried through one by one by one by
Oh,
one.
right, because you said it wasn't flowing that quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, right. Okay, that comes later. Sorry. I knew there was a dramatic thing, and it seemed like the right spot.
Just forget
Yeah.
you heard that.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to the... There's cinematic points were spent like water in this section.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
The liquid fire. It's only 10 degrees, so it just. I said they had about 10 rounds before they were gonna start. Like they couldn't be back against the wall anymore.
Yeah, the tilt is 10 degrees, not the temperature of the fire,
No. Yeah.
just to clarify. Anyway,
I figured the temperature of the higher fire. It's not lava. It's about as hot as red hot iron.
so Drosis and Hank go over first in case there's anyone to fight. And there is. There's a Myconid up there. So Croesus starts beating on this Myconid and locks down his using his defendery powers to stop him from getting away. And
Yeah, the
alerting-
Myconid is doing everything in his power to get to the door on the roof, and Croesus locks it down. The Myconid eventually gets to the point where, because Croesus keeps doing a thing where he can only move next to him, and he can do that at will. I think he has to spend power points or something, but eventually the Myconid does get out of that and starts walking towards the door, shifting towards the door. But Croesus has a thing where he can shift to any square adjacent to him, so he just keeps shifting, and eventually Croesus shifts onto the trap door itself, and is just standing on the trap door. And the Myconid does his best to get through Croesus, but
That seems to be a pattern. We'll see that pattern again later. Croesus standing on a trap door to stop pursuit or escape or whatever. Anyway, so while all that's going on, Hank continues ferrying people over, and so we all wind up on the forecastle. Meanwhile, back on the cauldron of fire, it's now poured out and has completely covered the platform we were on. And that's when we asked the DM, that trap door that got locked behind us, it's wood, right?
and it was.
It was. So we're like, yes, that's nice. That's very nice. We like this arrangement.
So it's and the stuff is clearly pouring in down the stairs they came up with now.
It
So
burnt through the trap door, so it's pouring in there.
Whoever
So-
designed this clearly did not consider the possibility of tilting.
Yeah. So we decide not to mess around with this forecastle place. We want to go to the other cauldron of fire and execute our shadow bridge routine. So we look at this trap door and review our options and decide to have Cricket cast Arcane Lock on the trap door so that any drow inside will be trapped inside, won't be able to come out, mess with us. So that'll take 10 minutes though. So Cricket starts casting while the rest of the party, or most of the rest of the party, I think Aurora stays behind.
Aurora stays behind.
The rest of the party goes over to the other cauldron of fire to start setting up their little routine with the shadow bridge, because that'll take a little while too. We're doing them in parallel.
So, isn't the castle on the ground right now?
No, it smashed the ground, but then picked back up again.
yeah, it just clipped the ground.
Yeah. So probably that hanging tower that we came up through has had a level or two sheared off or something. But
I did some litho.
yeah. But we don't know. It doesn't really matter at this point. We're not going down there. So, so Cricket's working on wizard locking this, or arcane locking this hatch, when Aurora spots a couple of drow rappelling down the tower to get to this cauldron of fire that's pouring in through the trap door. They probably want to get to the controls to shut it off.
Yeah, because there is an emergency shutdown
Yeah.
on the fire generator.
Fortunately, we're on this forecastle in the crenellation areas. There's a couple of ballistae here. So Aurora is like, oh, ballistae. She goes and grabs the ballista, loads it up, and starts firing at these drow who are coming down. And one of them, she's hits that guy, and John rules that it does push sort of like inherently, knocks him off the rope. He falls down into the fire. And then the other guy sees this, and he's like, "Oh crap," and starts trying to go back up. And so Aurora picks him off too. So she was very pleased with that, and it was quite a cool thing. She had the thing. And so the fire continues pouring in through the trap door. And I think around this time we started seeing it pouring out the bottom
Pouring
of the
out
tower.
the bottom, yeah. And they can also hear the tower really ramping up. It's like they've cranked, like they had calmed down when they got it under control, but now it's cranking up super high. Someone is cranking it into the red zone, far into the red zone.
Because that fire is basically pouring in through the warp core. So something's going wrong down there. Also pouring in through the library, I might add.
That's true.
So,
You monsters.
yes, well, as it turns out, it would all have been moot anyway. This you'll see. So,
It was all a dream.
the rest of the party finishes rigging up the shadow bridge and sets the other fire cauldron, pouring fire onto those other the roofs of those towers sticking out the aft. So it starts burning through the roof and pouring in there. So now they've got fire pouring in through two different places.
Have you guys thought of how you're going to get off this once it lights into flame?
You'll see.
Okay.
This is not even half our level of lack of foresight. This is, we actively resist foresight on this one. So okay, that's great. We've got both of these cauldrons of fire pouring into the castle. Now we got to figure out where to go and what to do. So the rest of the party leaves the second cauldron, comes back to the forecastle where Cricket has finished wizard locking that door. What were we deciding? We were trying to decide we were going to go up or something, or
Well, what I remember is Aurora really wanted to look in there because Croesus figured it was the control room and figured that we should do a strike on the control room and kill the leaders.
I figured it was a control
But
room.
other people thought that was a terrible
seemed,
idea.
It seemed like the control room would make sense there. It was in the fore of the thing. It was like a good place to put a steering wheel.
And Aurora just really wanted to at least see. She wanted to peek and at least see what was in there, even if they didn't do anything.
Since I'd arcane locked the trapdoor, I and my party, we can open and close it at will. It's other people that can't get through. So we're like, yeah, sure, we'll peek inside, see what's going on in there, and then decide what to do from there. So we peek inside. Sure enough, right below the trapdoor, main control room. Arcane circles everywhere. All these drow are frantically manning the controls, pulling the levers and twiddling knobs.
Sweat pouring off their faces
They're
as
all
they
like,
desperately
"Holy crap,
try to
this-"
control the tower.
Yeah, the tower's like on fire and everything's wrecked and
Red lights are blinking.
yeah.
And then in the middle, there's a captain.
A cutscene happens.
The captain is this very scarred drow, and he's standing in the middle of this big magic circle, and he's shouting orders to people, saying, "Get me more speed." And I can't give you more speed. There's 2 damage.
That's all she's got.
Who's the one doing this damage? Find them and kill them. We don't have enough crew. Half of them are dead, and the other half are staunching the fire that's coming through. We'll take them off that and put them on going faster. But that'll destroy the tower. I don't care.
Exactly.
And they're having this big sort of...
Yeah, very very dramatic cutscene of captain screaming orders, and everyone's like, "No, we're all gonna die, sir." And the orders he was giving was...
Did he say reverse the polarity at any point?
No, he never tried reversing any polarities. But
Did he
ultimately,
have a robot companion?
no.
The,
Do the Myconids count? There were some Myconids.
there was a...
Probably.
there was a
Actually, no, I don't know. Anyway,
There was a female drow who, she was bald but covered in these white glowing tattoos all over her body. And she put her hand on the captain and said, "It's too late. There's too much damage. We can't avoid it." And so he turned around and said, "All right, fine. You're right. I'll take Panadar to the top and see if I can survive the crash. You stay here and try to slow things down." And so, and she's mad at him. And he says, "Look, if we want to get the artifact out of here, only one of us is going to survive." So he goes over to this chest and pulls out a wooden box.
The box.
And she,
We're all hammering on the interrupt button at this point. We're all like, we want to
Punch!
Yes.
I want to punch!
they're fairly far away anyway, but
Yeah.
and he's next to this trap door, just as a note. And she, the female drow, suddenly grabs the box from him, kicks the lever on the floor, opens the trapdoor, hurls him in, and he starts screaming, and the trapdoor closes. She says, "You're right, only one of us is going to survive." And then she bolts from the room through the doors, like not the trapdoor, but the doors below.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Every inch of the room before you is covered in magical runes and purple glowing script. It has an upper balcony and stairs that further ascend to a trap door that you're looking through. Throughout the room, drow on magic circles are frantically casting, sweat beating on their faces as they desperately try to make the tower do their bidding. Standing in the center, on a very large magic circle, is the captain, a muscular black elf covered in scars. He is barking orders to everyone in the room. "Hard to port! We can't, the system is damaged! We'll fix it, damn it! We can't, the repair crews are staunching the fire coming down from the towers! Who's causing this? Find them! Half the crew is dead! We don't have the people! Then give us more speed! The engines have taken too much damage! If we put them in too much into them, they're gonna blow! I don't care! Do it now!" Standing behind his right shoulder is a female dark elf. She is beautiful despite her shaven head. Her body and even her bald head are covered in glowing white tattoos. She places her hand softly on the captain's shoulder. Her tone is soft, but it betrays tension. "Sir, it's too late. There's too much damage. We can't avoid it." The captain looks at her in anger, but it fades to a general angry disappointment. He curses and says, "You're right. You stay here and keep the tower flying. I'll take Panadar to the top of the tower. Perhaps I'll be able to survive the collision from up there. Slow this thing down and bring it as low as you can." In response to the woman's outraged eyes, he barks, "If the artifact's going to escape, only one of us is going to survive." The captain heads towards the door, but turns aside. He stands near a trap door from which a rotting scent faintly emerges. He reaches out and opens a chest that you suddenly notice for the first time. It's as if you were prevented from seeing it until this moment. He reaches in and produces a small wooden box. Suddenly, the box is wrenched from his grip. The female dark elf had crept up behind him. In one swift motion, she grabs the box, hits a lever on the floor with her foot, and sends the wide-eyed captain plummeting into the now open trapdoor. His screams are muffled by the trapdoor's closing. "You were right," she smirks. "Only one of us is going to survive." Clenching the box tightly, the woman shouts to the shocked bridge crew. "You heard him. Slow us down and bring it low. Hit the ground if you can." Without waiting for a response, she bolts from the room.
And then the cutscene ends and we can act. Now, the trap door she opened, it smelled like rotten decay and fungus and stuff in there. So this is probably that pit that they throw people into to turn them into myconids. So, Serendipity Van Goldstrata Moore uses her cinematic point to recast a daily. She makes that treasure, the illusory treasure, right on that trap door. I think it was still open, actually. It didn't get closed.
Was it on the trapdoor? Oh, no, it got closed.
It got closed? Okay.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. So, yeah, she basically, there's a crew frantically trying to keep the tower from crashing into something.
Yeah, because she did say, slow this thing down, hit the ground if you have to.
Maybe we'll
Whatever you do, slow it down.
If we can slow it down. And so they're all frantically trying to slow it down. So we figured, nah, we don't like this whole survivability thing going
slow it down. What the hell?
Let's distract the entire crew. Wow.
Because it was a special thing, she just made one roll because I didn't want to do a combat, and she rolled a critical. So pretty much the whole crew just starts going for this gold treasure, and the few that resisted stand back and like, "What are you guys doing? What are you doing? We're all gonna die if you don't slow this thing down." And they are just going, "Treasure." So the three guys who resisted are like, "Screw it," and they run out of the room too because they don't want to be there.
So we've now successfully stopped the crew from making this a survivable collision. with whatever it is that we're headed for. I'm still suspecting, and I think pretty much everyone in the party is suspecting. Oh, we're probably going to be colliding with like the inside of the rift or something, and then we'll be sliding down the rift face. It'll be yeah. We figure we got John's plan all sussed out, and we know where the cinematic's going on this one. But it doesn't really matter what's going on. All that matters is the box.
Yeah.
We know that she's heading for the top of the tower because she figures for whatever reason, and the captain figures for whatever reason, that's the most survivable spot. That's where the box is going to be. That's where we're going. So this is where Hank does the cinematic point so that everyone can hook shot together. We all grab out of Hank. He hook shots up to the thing.
Yeah. On the top of the tower is pronged on all four axes,
prongs.
and there's 4 little platforms up there.
Yeah. So she's on the drow with the box, or I should say the box with a drow, is on one of the prongs, and we all hook shot up onto another one of the prongs. So we're like,
She was fast.
yeah.
There was some stuff that happened in between.
I mean, we stopped to kill the entire crew, so
and there was some discussion.
Yeah. So, and there's about 10 squares distance or something like that. So it wasn't
10 or
like
15.
it wasn't like right adjacent. And
She's clenching the box
Yeah.
tightly and like sort of bracing in this nimble sort of way, and they can see up ahead this huge black shape looming through the thunderstorm.
storm, yeah. And it's approaching rapidly because we killed everyone at the brakes. And I think we shouted a few things back and forth. Yes, Cricket had like a almost prepared statement about, turn over that box. It's property of blah 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 like that. And then we're out of time. The big looming shape is there, and we have another cutscene. So the tower crashes into a giant city. It smashes into like the buildings and buttresses and bridges and all, big tangled mess of city, and just boom like that. And it starts, the lower levels of the tower get sheared off, and then the medium levels and stuff like that as we're getting deeper into the city, kaboom, boom, boom, like that. Everything explodes and is hurtling through the air.
Yeah, the whole tower just sort of tips over and starts smashing and
like that. That's when I spend my cinematic point to leap through the tumbling rubble to try and grab the box from the drow who's also hurtling through the air. Basically, Cricket and the drow like collide. She's grabbing for the box.
and everyone hits the ground and starts tumbling for like 2 blocks or whatever, and the rubble comes smashing in behind them, and of course the tower's overloaded and has fire everywhere, so it's exploding all behind them, blowing all the houses. And one other thing about this city that's notable, the reason in fact that it was so high is because the whole city is on treads. It's the giant tread city that they just crashed the tower into.
The Dwarven Mobile City. Yeah. So it was quite the high production values on that cutscene there. It was
Jerry Bruckheimer.
I figured they probably destroyed about 30 city blocks as that tower kind of came crashing through. And
it would have been less, but we made it worse.
Yeah, they did make it worse. Actually, they kind of got lucky because I forgot to apply the made it worseness to how much damage they took when they hit. So
that's good because we were all fairly badly hurt. I think everyone was bloodied by then.
Yeah. I mean, what I had said was if this can't drop you more than 0, you'll just be left unconscious.
Right.
And then I did a massive amount of damage.
Right.
But because I forgot, I should have doubled it because the tower didn't slow down.
20 d6 or something.
No, I did 50 damage minus an acrobatics check. But I should have done 100 because I didn't slow it down at all.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
I think that would have put Cricket unconscious, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
It would have changed things a little bit. But anyway.
But whatever. They somehow managed to not be affected by their...
well, we were affected. We just weren't unconscious. So the rest of the party is scattered over that way, and Cricket is right next to the drow. fighting over the box. And
She's also
and
injured.
yeah, in theory. Turns out she's a level 15 solo. we later discover.
Yeah.
But
So-
Cricket's in a little tug of war with her over the box, and she's like shouting all this very official sounding stuff about how that box is property of Kalinar Durago. It's a diplomatic package, etc. Anyway,
Was the Drow shouting?
I think she may have been confused by this whole thing because
Yeah, she just mostly was saying screw off,
And what did
basically.
they called? They called the box like
Panadar.
Panadar.
Yeah, they
Panadar
didn't
pizza.
They didn't put an article in front of it.
Yeah.
Panadar.
So
Alright.
anyway, unfortunately, Cricket isn't able to wrestle the thing away from her. So she runs off a little ways, and the rest of the party gets up and starts running over, and then combat ensues.
Some
Oh, right.
dwarves from the rooftop start shooting arrows at her almost immediately.
Yeah.
Like, they must have been like ready or whatever.
At her?
Yeah, at her.
Yeah.
Isn't this her city, though?
No,
No, it's a
she's a
dwarf
drow. This
city.
is a dwarven slash.
Oh.
It's contested right now between dwarves and gnomes. So there's fighting and stuff going on. Presumably there were like guerrilla factions all ready to fight each other, and then suddenly kablamo!
castle
this
smashed into
castle
it.
smashes in, and it's like, hey,
yeah,
we're
the
fighting
drow
back.
flying tower smashed into the dwarven gnome city
Yeah.
on treads.
Wow.
So, the fight. Okay. So we're all at death's door. And
No dailies, almost no healing surges. Everyone's bloodied from the collision.
And we're even getting low on cinematic points. She's a level 15 solo, pretty much uninjured. I mean, she took a little damage from
She
the
took as
fall.
much damage as them, but for a level 15 solo,
Yeah.
that's nothing.
And- yeah.
And Robin said, "John, what are you doing? Like, we have nothing left, and she's a level 15 solo. What are you doing?
It was
She's
like,
gonna kill us."
That's
and,
what you're doing.
And I said, "Well, you could let her go. She's not trying to kill you. She's trying to run away."
And we're like, but she has the box, therefore we cannot. It's axiomatic. Anyway. So, it's a weird fight because we can't touch her.
Yeah.
But she's not really trying to kill us. She just wants to get away because she's got the box and she's trying to run for it.
Yeah.
We're trying to pin her down, but none of our stuff is hitting her. So I mean, I'm bolaing like crazy, and my bolas just miss, whatever. We did manage to slow her down.
Something hit.
Yeah,
I think,
we did a few things to slow her down a little bit until finally. Who was it that actually made the grab initially? It was. Was it Aurora?
I forget who it was, but actually before that
Where
grab,
are you guys?
We're 9. Or 8. No, 9. Yes, we're 9. We're 9.
she starts doing the black lightning thing
Oh,
that
right.
the drow have all been doing, but to like the next degree.
Yeah.
And she kind of does the storm thing. She starts hovering in the air, and lightning is going off everywhere around her. She gets anyone within 5 squares of her takes 10 lightning damage on their turn. She starts. What did she do? She did something to. Who did she hit first? Was it Hank?
There was some ongoing damage that she was able to do.
Oh, it was Hank. Hank came
Yeah.
up to her. Hank came up to her and I think grabbed the box. She grabbed it back and then put this black lightning on him that encased him in this lightning prison, so he couldn't do anything except for try to escape from the lightning prison, and it was doing damage to him. And then she, with the box, ran off into the rubble area with it.
But then who was the second one that made the grab then?
I did it. Must have been.
It wasn't Hank, obviously, because he briefly got the box away from her, but then she grabbed it back. And then she was running.
Must have been Croesus.
I'm thinking Croesus, yeah.
One other thing that happened that was kind of interesting is when she went into the rubble where they couldn't see her, they heard someone cast a spell, and then they heard someone else in Nelvish say, "What are you doing?" And, wow, it was interesting.
So she starts running away, and Croesus manages to get to her before she runs away, and he grabs the box and gets that away from her. Now,
Then he gives it to Aurora.
yeah, it gives it
who
to
bolts
Aurora, who runs because she has
further into the non-rubble area as far as she can.
So Aurora's running. So now the Drow turns to chase Aurora, and Croesus was trying to pin her down but that didn't work.
No, and she can hover 8.
Yeah.
So with a run, she's caught
moving.
up. Oh no, she didn't quite catch up to Aurora.
Yeah.
She was 1 square away.
Yeah, that was
So she
very
couldn't-
important that she was just 1 square away, so she couldn't do the grab.
And around that time, that was when the dwarf came out from a side quarter, through the blocks of the alley, just panting as if he's been running full tilt, and
big
shouts something in Dwarven, which none of them speak. And
Comes running at Aurora with his axe.
yeah, and the archers who've been shooting at her start shooting at Aurora instead, and then he comes charging at Aurora, but he has to run, so he has a -5 and totally misses completely. But
So now our turn starts again, and Aurora has the box and is 1 square away from this Drow, who is way faster than she is.
Oh, right.
Yeah, she's got a faster move speed than
I put dwarf, and I was like, dwarf?
Yeah.
Faster.
Oh no. We basically.
she is
ignore
also
that
next
dwarf.
to the dwarf too.
The dwarf is
But-
like flailing away with his axe, but never manages to land anything. So she runs away from the Drow, back towards the party. And at the end of her move, she throws the box to Hank. We're playing like keep away here. You know, who has movement left? Throw it to them. You know, that's sort of the way. Oh yes, and also on the previous round, that dwarf with the magic stuff came out of the sewer.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
This manhole cover popped open, and this dwarf covered in like magic gear and stuff comes out, and he's like trying, I'm gonna cast spells on you because I'm a dwarf spellcaster, which is weird. You know, they've got.
I think their way, the way that they know magic is somewhat known.
Yeah.
Like at least someone in the party knew it anyway. That like, it comes from world building. The dwarves can't cast magic, but they're really good at taking old ood magical stuff and using it. And this guy is basically like cyborged himself. He's just like embedded magical items everywhere. So he's kind of like a dwarf wizard, essentially.
Yeah.
So the manhole cover popped open. He jumped out. He's like, I'm scary. And we're all like, aha, manhole cover. That's the important thing here. So Aurora tosses the box to Hank. Hank catches the box, and he's got moves, so he runs over to the sewer, to the manhole, jumps in, slams it behind him,
Leaving the party outside.
leaving the party outside. And then Croesus goes and stands on the manhole. Just like with that trap door. This is where the theme is coming in.
Yes.
So now this Drow is a little bit screwed, because how is she going to get that box? She has to get through Croesus. She has to move quite a distance to get there. I don't know if she can move and attack in one round.
Yeah.
But even if she can, it's unlikely she can blow Croesus away in a single round. Probably 2. Then she's got to rip open the manhole cover. And throughout all this, Hank is down in the sewers running.
Yeah.
And upon
And it's
getting
a
there,
catacomb down there. It's elaborate.
I said it's almost more like a Jeffrey's tube. Like it's all these because this is an ancient ood magical tank essentially, and there's all these tubes and ladders, and it's just like immediately it's a huge maze down there. So I mean, you can see like 7 ways to go just from where he is. But
oh, I forgot. We also did some further stuff. After Aurora threw the box to Hank, Serendipity, Van Goldstrider, and Malor used prestidigitation to make an illusion. She ran over to Hank and then illusorily grabbed the box from Hank. So now she's got a fake box. And then she runs over, I think she tosses the illusory box to Cricket, who then runs in a different direction. So I don't know if this has fooled the Drow. We made the rolls, but we don't know what the results are. But yeah, we've got the real box down in a labyrinth with a defender. He's a defender, right? Yeah, a defender standing on the manhole cover. And we've got an illusory box being run off with by Cricket. So we may actually get the box away.
Oh, Ale! So much stuff happened. There was fire and ballistas and people falling down a hole. And we crashed. I mean, What? Oh, so much happened, and now we're kind of fighting and hurting and running away. And I really am tired, and I want to relax, a nice cup of tea, put up my feet. Does it make me a bad person that I thought it was really fun and exciting to make all those drow fall into the pit and maybe burn them with liquid fire? Does that make me a bad person?
Okay, so what a day. We had this giant floating tower full of these dark elf type people. We crashed it, we broke it, we burned it with liquid fire, which was a lot of fun. And we found the box. And the lady with the box is obviously trying to prevent us from getting it. But I got it. And now I'm lost in the sewers. And it's dark. And I'm alone. What a day.
I don't know what's going on again, but we were having a great dream where there was a storm fortress with dark elves in it, and we were messing it up. Like, it just felt good to break that fortress because it was they built it wrong. They built it at wrong angles. Oh, and they were using to kill people too. But mostly they built it wrong, and all of the architecture broke all of the rules, and we were totally running fire into it, and serendipity vendrostrum Birdlart serendipity was casting magic on stuff. But then I woke up in a Broken City dream, which these transitions hurt sometimes because, wow, I mean, flying dreams are fun, but you wake up and there's a lump. And anyway, in the new dream, my friends are all there, which is great. I mean, not my real friends, my dream friends are all there, which is good because I'm tired of watching my real friends die, you know? That really bothers me. And now there's our box, because the first thing I saw was our box. And it's 2 boxes, except sometimes not, and I'm guarding a hole.
Dear Diary, I had such a good day. Well, I can't recount everything that happened because it was so full, and I may not have much time left on this dear earth until I wake up again because a very angry, greasy-haired person is throwing lightning at me very closely and trying to steal a box from me. But anyway, oh yes, I remember my moment of triumph. These 2 drow were coming down on strings, and I got to play with the ballista, even though Cricket said I wouldn't have a chance shooting the broadside of a barn, and I shot them both down. Oh, it was glorious! And I looked at her, and I was so excited. And do you know, she wasn't even paying attention. She was just looking at that stupid trap door, all concentrating and humming some song or something. But Hank was there, and he said, good shot. And that made me feel really good about myself. I feel like today, for the first time, I really added to this party. And I'm glad that the tower is no longer out there destroying villages. I feel like we've really made a difference in the world today. And if we all die, it will have been a good death. Yep, it's been a great day.
Well, everything's blown up. Except the important things. That's good. That's good. And Hank is running. And if I can get Hank to run, oh my, I can get everyone to run. Except I won't run. We're facing a foe that is just, she's too powerful. This This Drow sorceress, she's out of our league. I don't think that we can defeat her, but maybe the others can escape her. And right now it looks like I have the box. Don't tell her that. But if I can make her believe that I have the box, she will spend all her time and effort destroying me, and then the others can get away. I think that this could work out quite well. I just hope that the others can get away. And seriously, if Hank is running, oh my, the others can run.